Hello, boys and girls. I'm your Peter Pan storyteller.
This is the story of The Last Starfighter.
This is the story of Gremlins.
This is the story of Tron.
This is the story of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
This is the story of The Empire Strikes Back.
You can read along with me in your book.
You can follow the story along with me.
Every time you hear this sound,
Turn the pages when you hear this sound.
You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the computer sound like this.
Let's begin now.
I'm the ghost that's known as Casper. I want to be a friend to you. I will try to make you happy. This is all you have to do. Come along now and join the party. Come along now and have some fun. We are all the friendly people and the one that's really done.
Hello, trick-or-treaters. Welcome to the latest episode of When You Hear This Sound, brought to you by the Space Monkey X Audio Workshop. I'm your host, Rob Lamley. Just a reminder that this episode is part of a marathon of spooktacular records that I'll be featuring all the way up until Halloween. And be on the lookout for bonus episodes, as I have a few unusual records that are great for putting you in that Halloween spirit. Subscribe now so you won't miss out on any of the fun, and now on with the show. There are certain characters in pop culture that are akin to comfort food for Gen Xers. They're never characters that you necessarily obsessed over, like Star Wars or He-Man, but they brought you joy no matter how old you got. I think for a lot of us, the characters from Harvey Comics could be considered the meatloaf and mashed potatoes of our childhoods. Out of all of Harvey's many characters, arguably the most impactful has been Casper the Friendly Ghost. Perhaps only rivaled by Richie Rich, Casper's popularity has helped fuel a phantasmic empire of movies, cartoons, comic books, board games, Halloween costumes, and of course records for decades. The mix of charming artwork and wholesome, spooky fun has made him an American icon. Casper the Friendly Ghost was the creation of author and illustrator Seymour Wright and animator Joe Arroyo in 1939 or 1940, accounts vary. The duo were both working at Fleischer Studios, one of the biggest animation houses at the time, when Wright developed the idea of a ghost that didn't want to frighten people, but wanted to become their friend instead. Arroyo illustrated the story, and they tried to sell it as a children's book. But after a few years of unsuccessfully pitching to publishers, they wound up selling the rights for a one-time payment of $200, or about $3,400 today, to their employer, Famous Studios, who had bought Fleischer Studios in 1942. Casper made his first appearance in The Friendly Ghost, a 9-minute theatrical animated short based on the unpublished book released in November of 1945. He would go on to star in a total of 55 shorts for Famous Studios that ran until 1959. Casper's career as a comic book began in 1949 under St. John Publications, running for 5 issues until 1951. In 1952, Harvey Comics took over publication and would eventually buy the rights to Casper, as well as many other Famous Studios characters in 1959. Casper was a mainstay at Harvey, headlining dozens of his own titles over the years, as well as helping to launch new characters like Wendy the Good Little Witch, the Ghostly Trio, and Spooky the Tough Little Ghost. Starting in 1959, Casper began appearing on Maddie's Fun Day Funnies, an ABC cartoon that broadcast the Famous Studios theatrical shorts. But he got his own show in 1963, the New Casper Cartoon Show, which featured a mix of new original cartoons as well as rebroadcasts of the old Famous shorts. Only 26 original stories were produced, but the show lived on in reruns until 1970 nonetheless. Despite featuring Casper, Wendy, and the Ghostly Trio, as well as dozens of one-off characters ranging from a Martian to pilgrims to evil magicians, the entire show was voiced by only 2 actors, Norma McMillan and Bradley Bolke. McMillan would go on to voice Gumby, Sweet Polly Purebred on Underdog, and Davy on Davy and Goliath. Bolke would later play Chumley the Walrus on Tennessee Tuxedo and His Tales, and was a featured voice on Rankin Bass holiday specials, The Year Without Santa Claus, and Mad, 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 Mad Monsters. The record I have for you today, Casper the Friendly Ghost, Haunted House Tales, was released in 1973 by Peter Pan Records. Although the new Casper cartoon show ended in 1970, it appears that Harvey wanted to keep the property in the public eye, so they teamed up with Peter Pan to release an LP of Casper stories. Side A features one tale, The Scariest Halloween Ever, and Side B features 3 shorter stories, Where Do You Hide in a Haunted House, Good Luck Isn't Bad, and The Creaky Staircase. I can't be certain because kids' records didn't usually credit the actors, but the voices on the record are similar enough to the cartoon that I have to wonder if they're the original actors, Norma McMillan and Bradley Bolke. If they're not the original actors, they're doing some amazing impressions. Oddly enough, the Side A story, The Scariest Halloween Ever, was re-released in 1976 as a read-along record book renamed Casper the Friendly Ghost Meets the Demon of Darkness. The book is quite different from the standard Peter Pan read-along book, featuring artwork and layouts that are much more reminiscent of a Casper comic book. In fact, the cover art for the book is credited to Warren Kremer, the creator of Richie Rich, who helped define the Harvey comic style during its heyday. The interior artwork also looks like it could be Kremer's as well. I can't confirm any of this, but if you look at this book and Kremer's art on Casper's comic books, it's very, very similar. I'll have a little side-by-side comparison for you in the show notes for this episode so you can see what I mean. Today I have for you The Spookiest Halloween Ever from the Ghost Tales LP. However, I also own the re-release as a read-along record book, so I've scanned that in and made it a PDF for you to download over at spacemonkeyx.net. I highly recommend checking out the book so you can see some really great, very comforting artwork that we all know and love. And with that, here's the record, The Spookiest Halloween Ever, from Casper the Friendly Ghost Haunted House Tales, released in 1973 by Peter Pan Records. Enjoy.
Casper the Friendly Ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. Though grown-ups might look at him with fright, the children all love him so. Casper the Friendly Ghost, he couldn't be bad or mean. He'll romp and play, sing and dance all day, the friendliest ghost you've seen. He always says hello, and he's really glad to meet ya. Wherever he may go, he's kind to every living creature. Grown-ups don't understand why children love him the most, but kids all know that he loves them so. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Come in and make yourself comfortable while I tell you the story of the scariest Halloween ever. Did I scare you? I hope so, because I'm a haunted house, and that's what I'm here for, to scare you. If you're brave enough to come closer, you'll soon find out what a perfect haunted house I really am. And I have ghosts that can move right through you. Have I scared you yet? Wait till you meet the ghostly trio. 3 terrifying, scarifying, ghostly ghosts named Fatso, Fusso, and Lazo. You hear that? That's the old hoot owl. He doesn't even get too close to me, so feared am I. You would think I would be the envy of every other haunted house. But for one thing, you see, I have one tenant who calls himself a ghost. But, the shame of it, his name is Casper, the Friendly Ghost. And Casper is booless. He never boos. And he is friendly to little children, to birds, to rabbits, to everyone. Even me. Oh, it's so embarrassing. The whole world loves Casper. Even me. It all started one night when the ghostly trio were practicing their boos for Halloween Eve.
Just as sure as my name is Fatso, we're gonna make this the scariest Halloween ever. Listen to this one, fellas. Boo! How'd you like that one, Fatso?
Not bad at all, Fatso.
Well, you better wake up for the night, Lazo, because this is gonna be the scariest Halloween ever. Right, Casper?
Oh, Fatso, I hope you're not serious about that.
Well, what do you want, a friendly Halloween?
Well, what's the matter with that? Wendy and I are going to have a Halloween party, and you're invited.
Goody, goody.
Wowee, hear that, gang? Casper's gonna let us play with his little friends. We're gonna scare the daylights out of every little smarty.
What a party that's gonna be.
Now listen, fellas, none of that stuff. If you want to come to this party, you got to promise not to scare the daylights out of anybody.
We promise not to scare the daylights out of anybody.
Well, that makes me feel a whole lot better. Listen, I've got to meet Wendy now to go trick-or-treating, so I'll see you fellas later at the party, okay?
Okay, Casper, have a good time.
Bye.
Goodbye, Casper.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, goodbye, all right. Goodbye to the scariest Halloween ever.
You could say that again.
Goodbye to the scariest Halloween.
Never mind. I don't want to hear it again. What'd you have to go and louse everything up for, Fatso?
Who, me? I didn't louse anything up. We're gonna have a great time.
How are we gonna have a great time if you promise not to
scare the daylights out of everybody?
Yeah.
Very simple. This is Halloween Eve. How are we gonna scare the daylights out of anybody in the evening?
Oh, yeah, he didn't say anything about scaring the nightlights out of anybody.
Right, and that's just what we're gonna do.
I gotta hand it to you, Fatso. That's pretty sneaky.
Come on, let's go.
We're gonna have the most ghostly.
Yeah, Slee.
Ghoulish, scariest Halloween
And laughing and jeering and snarking, the ghostly trio flew straight up and right through my roof into the twilight Halloween sky. Over the rooftops and down, down, down to the edge of the great misty swamp, where they called. And soon they began to arrive. All the scary, weird, glittering, half-invisible, glimmering, shivery creatures. There were banshees and hobgoblins and werewolves and trolls and monsters and vampires and scary spirits impossible to describe. And as the unearthly horde gathered, they filled the great misty swamp with a sound of terror, and a chill descended upon this Halloween Eve.
Okay, quiet down, I said, will ya? Hey, shut up! You too, zombie! That's better. Now then, before we're through tonight, everyone will know what Halloween should be. Scary!
Yeah, you tell him, Fatso.
That's right.
Wait till they see this group at Wendy's house. They're gonna be so scared they'll run from the party and leave us all the candy.
And cake.
And licorice, too.
And rocker.
Yeah, and rocker.
What's Larugga?
I don't know. Ask the zombie. It was his idea.
Okay, that's enough talk. It's time to get moving, everybody. Everybody ready? Let's go!
Yeah,
let's go!
Little did Fatso know that his devilish plan had just one fateful flaw. Meanwhile, a happier scene was taking place back in the enchanted forest, where Casper and his best friend, Wendy, the good little witch, were on their way back from trick-or-treating.
Isn't trick-or-treating fun, Wendy? My bag is almost full.
Mine too, Casper. And I've got all the goodies for the party tied onto my broom, too. If I add one more thing, it'll fly so low I'll be sweeping up leaves. I think I better go back now and set up for the party.
Okay, I'll join you there in a little while. I have to visit just a few more little friends. I love to trick-or-treat, and so do they.
Oh, now if I can just get this overloaded broom started. Abracadabra, blah, 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 blah. And away we go! Bye, Casper!
See you later, Wendy. Boy, I sure love trick-or-treating. Trick or treat, please be kind. Fruit or candy, I won't mind. If you don't give, I'm warning you. I really don't know what I'll do. Uh-oh, what's that noise? Suffering screech owls! Up in the sky! It's the trio! Oh, and they've gathered all the scary spirits. They've even called out the trolls and monsters and swamp creatures. I'd better fly home as fast as I can and warn everybody. Oh. Wendy, open up! It's me, Casper!
Oh, silly, it's your house. Come on in. The party's about to begin.
Oh, Wendy, I made a terrible mistake.
What?
I invited the trio to the party, but they're out scaring with banshees and hobgoblins and werewolves and every other kind of scary creature. And if they come here...
Well, they're uninvited. We'll just close the shutters and lock the doors. Why don't you stand there, Casper? Come on in so we can lock the door.
Okay, Wendy.
Come in.
But if Casper had made a mistake by inviting the ghostly trio to the party, Fatso had made an even bigger one. Because Fatso had wrongly assumed that the party was going to be at Wendy's house. That was a fateful mistake. Because Fatso didn't know that Wendy lived in that little house with her two aunties, the Witch Sisters. And everyone knows the Witch Sisters have very, very short tempers. So, when the ghostly trio arrived with the unearthly horde they had assembled...
What's that noise outside, Zelma?
Eh? Wait a look in the crystal ball. It seems to be a group of trick-or-treaters. Look here.
Why, it's a fat ghost approaching our door.
Boo! Boo! All you little goodies in there!
What kind of fools would dare to boo us?
I'll give them one warning. I'll just open this door and...
Boo! Boo!
Boo! Boo, is it?
Yeah, and you'd better run, kid, if you know what's good for you.
Hey, Fatso, isn't that the most ridiculous-looking witch's costume you ever seen?
Costume? Oh!
Then you better get out of here, kid. I'm telling you, this is your last chance. This is for real.
And don't take any of that candy with you either.
Well, if we don't have any candy... Well, but as long as you want to play, I think we can cook up something sweet for you.
I have a nice recipe here in my Halloween hoodoo book, sister. Look here.
Yes, the old demon of darkness trick.
Do you believe that? They're actually trying to bluff us into believing they're real witches.
That's a hot one.
Ready with a spell, sister?
Why not?
Ziggity-zee, ziggity-zing, demon of darkness, come on the wing.
And then, as the witches chanted, the most horrible, blood-curdling howl filled the night air.
Demon of darkness,
And a gigantic bat shape seemed to fill the sky, blotting out the stars, blotting out the moon. And in the velvet blackness, the ghostly trio and even the Halloween creatures were terrified.
Run for your lives!
You mean fly!
Run, fly! What difference does it make?
Let's get out of here.
Quick, let us in!
Yeah, quick, somebody, hurry.
Come on, somebody open the door!
Well, what do you know? Look, Casper, it's the trio.
Let us in!
Quick!
Please let us in.
Gee, I don't know, Casper. What do you think? Should we?
Well, if you fellas promise not to scare our friends, you can come in. But you really...
Scared? Don't even say that,
Oh,
buddy.
you can't. We'll be good, honest.
Okay, come on in. And welcome to the party.
Boy, am I glad to be in here.
Yeah, boy, I don't care if we never scare anybody ever again.
That goes for me, too, although I may change my mind in the morning. Now, where's your food?
Help yourselves, boys. There's plenty.
Boy, this is really delicious.
So's this. Yum.
Try some of this. What's that? Huh? What is it?
I think I just lost my appetite.
Casper, the lights are going out.
Even the light in the refrigerator. Oh, is that what frightened you fellas home?
It wasn't the pumpkin, I can tell you that.
What are we gonna do?
Well, it's Halloween, and even a demon is entitled to a treat. Let me have the shopping bags, Wendy.
Oh, whatever you say, Casper.
You're gonna go out there?
Does anybody want to come with me?
Are you kidding?
Well, then, here goes.
Good luck.
And Casper must have flown up into the velvety blackness toward the huge glowing eyes. I couldn't see because, to tell the truth, I was so scared myself. My walls were buckling and my floors were trembling, and I thought the roof was going to come tumbling down. But then, suddenly, the howling stopped, and in its place, I heard the sweet silver voice of Casper.
Happy Halloween, Mr. Demon. Here, this is for you.
And then I heard a great crunch and the unbelievable voice of the demon.
Gee, that was delicious. Thank you, Casper. Happy Halloween!
And as the great wings flapped off into the distance, the lights in the house came on, the stars came out. The scariest Halloween ever was over.
Thanks for stopping by the show today. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. You can head over to spacemonkeyx.net for pictures, links, and additional information about this episode, and check out some of the other podcasts presented by the Space Monkey X Audio Workshop. This has been your host, Rob Lamley. Thanks for listening to When You Hear This Sound, the podcast dedicated to the weird and wonderful world of read-along record books and storybook vinyl. I'll see y'all next time.